This question relates to the cost of business insurance, Ceann Comhairle. There has rightly been a significant focus on the issue of motor insurance in recent times, but less so on the issue of business insurance, and in particular employer liability and public liability. And businesses across this country, Minister of State Murphy, are facing an insurance crisis, with the cost of premiums increasing 30, 40, 50% and premiums doubling. Are not uncommon now, unfortunately. It's a huge issue across the country.
This working group, having published the report on the cost of motor insurance in January, has commenced the second phase of its work to address the cost of insurance for businesses, specifically employer liability insurance and public liability insurance, EL and PL. As Minister of State of the Department of Finance, I chair the working group, and it's comprised of representatives from the Department of Finance, the Department of Jobs, Enterprise and Innovation, Department of Justice and Equality, the Central Bank of Ireland, the State Claims Agency and the Personal Injuries Assessment Board, the PIAB. The working group intends to build on the work done in the previous phase as it relates to PL and EL claims. It will examine personal injury data and information, the effects of legal costs and litigation processes on insurance costs, current claims, compensation arrangements and cost of claims, the impact of unlawful activity on the insurance sector. And the working group is also considering the impact of the cost of insurance on the competitiveness of particular businesses, the impact of health and safety issues on the cost of insurance and other related market issues it identifies. By way of an update, the working group held its first meeting on the 26th of January 2017 and has so far met 5 times this year. During this time, the working group has held extensive consultations with a range of stakeholders, including IBEC, ISME, the Vintners Federation of Ireland, the Licensed Vintners Association, the Retail, Grocery, Dairy and Allied Trades Association, the Hotels Federation of Ireland and Chambers Ireland. Further consultations are also planned and submissions have been invited from interested parties. Similar to the approach which was taken in Phase 1, the working group will make recommendations based on their consultations and research. Lead owners will be tasked with the execution of the actions required to implement those recommendations. At this stage, it is anticipated that the second phase recommendations will take the form of an addendum to the existing report, as many of them will build upon the recommendations in the cost of motor insurance report. Thank you.
Minister, thank you. Minister, as I said, there is a real crisis around the country in respect of the cost of business insurance. I have a list of examples. I have one hotel in rural Ireland where the cost of insurance has gone from 22,000 to 40,000. I have a small pub that serves food, has been quoted €45,000 for insurance. The issue here seems to be litigation-based insurance, employer liability, public liability, because of the lack of predictability, because of the inconsistency around court awards, for example. And businesses, in some cases, are taking the risk of not having any insurance at all. It's a crazy risk to take, but some businesses are being forced to take that risk in order to stay in business. So I need to see, Minister, a sense of urgency in tackling this issue. There's a good report now on the motor insurance issue, which we will hold you to account on the implementation of that. We need a similar body of work urgently. There is some commonality around the issue of injuries board and awards and so on, but please understand the urgency and the gravity of this situation, which is going to close and has already closed the doors of many businesses around the country.
You can, Cora, and to thank the Deputy, I absolutely understand the urgency here because of the engagements that we've had with businesses. For example, if you look at the hospitality sector, they're taking a very big hit when it comes to the increase in their insurance premiums. They've tried to control this risk by looking to shut down particular parts of their business, for example, a nightclub or being able to host weddings. But of course, that's part of their viability as a business in the first place, so they can't actually portion out that part of their business. Already the work that we have done to date has identified particular problems, as you allude to, in relation to certain businesses now taking on higher excesses, which is very difficult for them in terms of managing their bottom line. But also this increasing what's happening is the idea of self-insurance, which where businesses and having experienced self-insuring could be putting their complete business fundamentally at risk if there were a problem in the future that they hadn't provisioned against. So it's a very worrying trend that we're seeing from business. We're also looking at the role that brokers might be able to play in this area as well, or we think we'll be expanding our terms of reference to look at that piece as well. And the fraud piece is important as well. We're getting very good information back from businesses in relation to how the fraud piece they think is affecting their businesses, so we'll be looking at that as well. But there are things that we need to look at to bring greater consistency to this area, like the Personal Injuries Commission that's been set up already and is already working, strengthening the PIAB, and in the second quarter of this year, the heads of the changes to the legislation are going to come on that, and also pre-action protocols, I think, can help bring consistency to the awards process as well. Thank you.
Correct in identifying the hospitality sector and indeed businesses in the services sector generally, pubs, hotels, nightclubs, anywhere where there is public footfall, is where the issue is most acute because of the uncertainty and the inconsistency around award levels, and it simply has to be dealt with. The quality of cover is being diminished. The issue of excess is becoming more significant. I have one example here. The excess is €10,000 for each claim in respect of employer liability and indeed public liability as well. Brokers, in my view, are keeping the show on the road. Many brokers are going to extraordinary lengths to represent their clients and to get the best deal that they possibly can from insurance companies. And indeed, in many cases, they are struggling to get any quote at all. So by all means, engage with them, because they'll have many stories to tell you. And any business, Ceann Comhairle, that has an open claim, an outstanding claim, God help them in trying to get a renewal of their existing insurance policy. So, Minister, I will work with you in a spirit of cooperation on this issue. It's a very significant economic issue. It is contributing to the cost base of many businesses, and as I say, jobs are on the line. The market is dysfunctional. It has to be dealt with.
Minister, to conclude.
Thank you, Chair. And just quality of cover is key, and what we are seeing is that certain insurance providers are leaving parts of the market, which is then leading to this problem of businesses having to self-insure in relation to a particular risk, and it's a very dangerous thing to be happening for business and potentially for the market as well. So we'll approach this as urgently as we approach the motor piece. Of course, the actions under the motor insurance plan are already underway, and I look forward to continuing to engage constructively with the Oireachtas Committee. You'll be aware, Deputy, that I already gave a preliminary report on our action plan in terms of what actions have already begun, the current level of progress, and I'll continue to come into the Oireachtas Committee as we publish our quarterly reports so that you can hold me to account so that we can actually get something done. And as I said in my initial response, in relation to EL and PL, we will be bringing out a series of actions with a timeline, with lead owners, so that you can continue to hold the government side of this to account, but we'll need to work with the Oireachtas where we need to fast-track particular pieces of legislation. Thank you.